Well, some drama at the end. A lot of drama throughout this game, in fact. But India have drawn level 2-2 in this five-match T20 series, with a decided to be played in a couple of days. It's been that kind of a game. All-round performance from India, sealing this game by 8 runs. Surya Yadav getting a 50. Hardik Pandya starting with the ball. But before we get to a detailed analysis with Boria Majumdar on a series-leveling victory for India, here's why you should download the Howzat app.
क्या आप भी किसी अपने सपने मेरे तुम्हारे टीम 11 पे टीम बना रहे हो और बच्चों के साथ खेल रहे हो? हमारे साथ खेलोगे? हाउस पे खेलो लेजेंड्स के साथ. हमें हराओ और जीतो डबल कैश. Log on to howzat.com and win real cash.
Enthralling victory this for India. Finally, a close game. In fact, all three games before this one won by the teams chasing England. The first and the third games, India on Sunday in the second game. But Boria, I know you're a cool, calm, collected customer. You've been telling us ever since the series, ever since the third game, you said India will take this 3-2. But are your fingernails intact?
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought it was done. I mean, however much Jofra Archer hit that 6 and 4, all it needed was one good ball. Because the moment, 25 runs in the last over doesn't happen against a decent bowler. Shardul Thakur is a good bowler. Yes, he got it wrong twice, but he will not get it wrong. He will land one. And all he needed to do was either the slower ball or the wide Yorker or a full length delivery where the batsman wasn't able to go under. So all it needed was one ball. The first ball of that over was one. So basically you had nullified that. So, even when he bowled those two wides, 10 of 3, I was like, okay, one ball. And he got that one ball. So I wasn't really nervous. I thought the over that won it was Hardik's over, 18th. And then Bhuvaneshwar Kumar put the finishing touches in the 19th. So that's how, and obviously, the real turning point was Shardul 2-2. That's when the match was done. The real Shardul Thakur over, the last over notwithstanding, was that 2-2. Ben Stokes, Owen Morgan. After that, Hardik screws. Obviously, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar pressing the screws. And then Shardul closing it out. Fabulous. Losing the toss. 2 soft signals going against you. Costing you 6 runs. Washington Sundar, that was 6. Costing you Surya Yadav's wicket. Against an excellent batting attack and against you come back to level the series 2-all. Fantastic from India.
No, absolutely marvelous performance. In fact, that's what I was coming to, right? The due factor, obviously, and the soft signals that would be the talking point tonight. But Boria, before we get there, phenomenal performance from the Indian bowlers. We had discussed this the last couple of times, that this is obviously not India's first choice bowling attack entirely, with Bumrah, Shami, Jadeja not playing the series. But heartening to see Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's form throughout after the first match. Hardik Pandya, not only is he bowling full tilt, not only is he bowling his full court of overs, but his best T20I figures. That's remarkable to see from an Indian perspective heading into the World Cup. This is what you want to see when you want your combinations right.
And he started the bowling. So very importantly, Hardik started out and bowled a phenomenal first over. Look at how England has batted. And you will know, to keep England to 3 runs of 2 overs or 2 runs of 2 overs, the first 2 overs, magical. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar maiden, Hardik Pandya 2 runs, 3 times the batsman miss it. So at that point in time, the ball was hard. Fielding restrictions in place. You have given 2 runs in the first 2 overs of your power play, when the opposition, like England, is chasing 186 with Butler and Roy. Now, that is near impossible what you've achieved there. 2 runs of the first 2. Yes, they attacked in the third, got a 4, got a 6 and all that. But those 2 overs, Hardik Pandya, excellent. We said Shardul Thakur not picking wickets in the last game. I said Deepak Chahar. Today, Shardul Thakur's second spell actually was decisive. Shows that you've got to persist with your people. So, as I said, against soft signals went against your way. Toss went against you. This is a phenomenally good win. Imagine setting a target and they've won this. India will now believe, oh, you know what, we've done the hard yards. We've won it despite losing the toss. This is how we've got to play. India has the momentum. And I've said it 3-2 India. I'm saying it again, 3-2 India. Whichever team won, I said 3-2. And I'm saying it 3-2 India, because now India will carry that momentum. What batting, man? Surya Yadav, first ball in international cricket, Nataraj shot for 6. Unbelievable from Sky.
Absolutely, it was just great to see him go the way he's done. So he's done this so often for Mumbai Indians, and he's like Ishan Kishan. He just adapted so easily. But before we get to the Indian batting, though, Rahul Chahar, Boria, what did you make of him? He was under pressure. The due factor obviously would have hampered him as well. That he's just coming in to play his second T20. Yuzvendra Chahal dropped after a couple of poor spells. But what did you make of Rahul Chahar and his temperament? Especially, obviously, he got hit for a few in his final over. But great to see that too.
Yeah, especially in the first couple of overs, he was very good. I thought he lost the line a little bit when Bharat Arun's reaction was like, because he got it wrong there, Rahul Chahar. He will learn. I mean, he's also a young man replacing Yuzvendra Chahal. But India is keeping backups ready, which is very important, Rajarshi. If you need to win a World Cup, you have to have backups ready. Can Rahul Chahar be the backup for Yuzvendra Chahal? From the evidence at hand, he's a good bowler. He picked up 2 wickets. That Bairstow wicket was important. He was getting hit in that over, yet he kept his cool. Very good to see from Rahul Chahar. As I said, overall, every time England was threatening to run away with it, Bairstow wicket, Stokes wicket, Morgan wicket. That is how India managed to pull it back. Wickets pulled it back. 186 is not something that is England. This England side will not be able to chase. They will be. It was the wickets at every interval. Think about it. Butler at the start. Thereafter, you got Roy. Thereafter, you got one after the other. You got Malan. So constantly, every time there's a partnership, you picked wickets. That is why Rahul Chahar's spell. Though yes, he went for runs, but those 2 wickets were very, very important.
Absolutely, and Boria, you just mentioned backups and alternate plans for every role in the team, right? This Indian team is blessed now with a backup opener in Ishan Kishan, a third option. Whether India want to use him in the middle order, but this middle order is becoming a pleasant problem of plenty now with Surya Kumar. You mentioned his Natraj shot for six. It's just becoming a this is pleasant, right? This is a pleasant problem of plenty. The way he went about, and Shreyas Iyer came in after that controversial dismissal, and he carried on from where he left off.
Absolutely, and if you actually think, I mean, when Surya was sort of he teed off, India had lost a few wickets. India had lost a few wickets, and thereafter, when you come in and you play that kind of cricket, wow, wow. I mean, at no point did he let that run rate drift. He and Rishabh, that partnership was essential after Virat got out to Rashid, and they set the tone. And thereafter, Shreyash came and capitalized, got a quick cameo in. Pant got out, run rate never dipped. India kept on attacking, and obviously Surya Kumar Yadav. Thereafter, everyone, if you see one hit from Shardul, one hit from Washi, so everyone kept adding to the intensity, and that's the kind of intensity you want to see. This team bats deep. It was evident. Everybody kept hitting the ball. Phenomenal. I mean, that's what you want to see, Rajarshi. This was a team performance. Will you identify one player? No, you cannot, because everyone contributed. Surya Kumar Yadav obviously special because of that innings of 57. Rahul did not look the part. He played 2 good shots, one boundary, but KL Rahul really is sort of not in the best of nick, but he's a class act. India persisted with him, telling the world we will back you. Now that is a very important confidence boost for any player. Yes, Ishan Kishan groin strain, but for KL, this was a big confidence boost. And yes, he may not have scored, but those little few balls that he played out there today might just do his confidence that little extra good that he can come back on game on what day after Saturday.
Yeah.
Terrific. I mean, I think India now has all the momentum going into the. England should have closed it. Toss went your way, soft signals went your way, due big time. Every ball bowlers had to rub and wipe the ball. England should have closed this. They will rue this opportunity.
Right. Now, those two big words, though, with the buzzwords, right? The soft signal. Boria, should it go? If you're relying on technology, should the soft signal go? Because the field umpire, he's under pressure to put out a soft signal. He may not have seen it from that angle, but that becomes irrelevant because that's his job to go for the soft signal. But the third umpire, he's looking for conclusive decision. It happened. There was a controversy in the in the day-night test match where the England team were pretty miffed at the fact that the third umpire just looked at 2 frames instead of the 5 or 6 that were needed for a conclusive evidence. But do you think it's time for this to go now? Umpire's call and soft signal.
Let me tell you this. I understand the David Malan catch, that when the fielder claims a catch, when the fielder claims a catch, you give it. Though it was totally against. It was dropped. It was like Michael Clark claiming Ganguly in that Monkey Gate series. But the other one, Rashid, clearly the umpire had no way of seeing if Rashid's foot had touched the line. You can't. 70 yards, 70 meters, 200 yards, or whatever feet. You can't. You can't call that. I mean, how on earth can an umpire call that? When the third umpire could not give a conclusive thing after 25 replays, the on field umpire calling soft signal out, when you haven't actually been able to figure out. Because had it been a drop, I would have understood it was a catch. It was a pretty black leg. I mean, think about it. Back leg hitting the rope. How can you see from 70 meters? You can't. So how on earth did you call that? So that's where you create enough and more room for controversy. You create enough and more room for you to be slammed. So it was a pretty strange call from the on-field umpire, number one. Number two, I understand that the third umpire can't overturn unless there is conclusive evidence. In the Rashid case, I thought there was plenty of evidence. When they froze frame, the it you can't actually say if the foot had moved or not. Now, in such a situation, when the foot was touching the rope and that was evident, how can you not overturn the call? So India will find themselves. I mean, if this match would have not gone India's way, these two would have been the real talking points, and it became close. If England had gotten these runs, you and I would have said India was robbed of 12 or 10 or whatever number of runs, and that's what made the game. So this is a very contentious one. Soft signal. What is soft? Out, wrong, right? I mean, either Rajoshi is out or Boria is not out. There is nothing in between. What do you mean soft out or hard out? There's no soft out, hard out. There's out. Out or not out. What do you mean soft signal? There's nothing soft about it. So take this nonsense out of the game once and for all. Review umpire's call, as you rightly said, because it is important that umpires are protected. And this was for howlers. Empower the third umpire sitting there to take that call. The umpire just goes TV. The umpire just goes this. The third umpire is adjudicating no balls. The third umpire will adjudicate this. What is this rubbish about soft signal? There's nothing called soft signal.
No, in fact, you made some very important points, and Boria Mojumdar being one of the foremost voices of the game, it was important to understand the fact that there's been a debate that has sparked off, right, Boria? A lot of cricketers weighing in. In fact, a lot of online hatred right now for David Malan as well, for some England cricketers weighing in on this and saying that his Twitter handle will be a pretty nasty sight for him tonight. But then what do players do? Because, this is other context, Boria, is when they knew that the call belonged, that umpires would then go back to check on a catch. Sometimes the fielders would also just claim, they would say that they would not stake claim to a catch as contentious as the one that Malan stake claim to tonight. But when they know that there's the benefit of soft signal from the umpire when he's not able to view that angle properly, players will also just get away with it, right? Because otherwise, would it have become a spirit of cricket issue had it not been for the soft signal?
No. I'm not saying soft. Okay, let me make this clear. It had to go up. I'm saying the soft signal has to go. The referral stays. Yeah. So you cannot, when the on-field umpire, think about it. The third umpire has taken 25 looks at that dismissal, both, and has not been able to adjudicate. Now, when the third umpire, after television replays, with the benefit of television replays, 25, 30 replays, is not able to adjudicate, how can the on-field umpire give you a conclusive decision? He can't. So if he can't give you a conclusive decision, why make yourself, put yourself in a spot by giving a soft signal? All you do is refer and close it. Let the third umpire give you what is the correct call. Malan, I will actually give him the benefit of doubt. He caught it, and then the hand hit the ground. The ball spilled there, then he scooped it up again. So maybe, and it all happened in a microsecond. So maybe he would have felt that his hands were under. Maybe. Did David Malan not know or no? We will not know. Only Malan can say. But I would want to believe that a sportsman or a cricketer of Malan's caliber and stature, who's a top international star, will not, when television replays are all there, will not want to claim knowingly that it was grasped, because it would be found out. So I will want to give him the benefit. But for Nitin Menon, to call that out was impossible. So all he by the ICC should be done is the on-field umpire goes up without the soft signal, because the soft signal is actually proving to be counterproductive and could have completely influenced the outcome of a match and changed the course of a series, maybe in a wrong manner. So I would imagine the ICC needs to take note, do away with the soft signal, keep the referral, empower the umpires, and make the game foolproof.
Absolutely, that could have been a turning point. Rightly said, Boria. Thankfully for India, they had Shreya Iyer coming in, all guns blazing. Boria, we have a question from Meet the Vermas saying, "Good evening, Rajesh and Boria, sir. Listening to Shardul's post-match interview, he said he received contradictory advice from Rohit and Hardik. Does that make it difficult to execute plans?" So what happened was Shardul Thakur, speaking in one of the post-match interviews, said Hardik had some plans for Shardul, but Rohit just wanted Shardul Thakur to back his instinct. Shardul said he mentioned once that the ground was shorter and asked me to keep it in mind and asked me to apply myself. That was what Rohit just said, and Hardik had some other plans for him. So Meet the Barmas wants to know, Boria, whether that could have created some more confusion for Shardul Thakur in a tense last over.
Yes, could have, definitely could have, but Rohit's right. You've got to back your bowler. And Shardul Thakur isn't making his debut. Shardul Thakur has played international cricket, he's played test cricket, he's been playing IPL, he's been around in the Indian white ball format for a long time. And who was he up against? Numbers 8 and 9. So you would have to back Shardul Thakur. So you know that, okay, either a Yorker or a wide Yorker or a slower ball or the back of the hand delivery where the ball will have that many number of revolutions. So and Shardul Thakur bowls at the death. It is not as if he's bowling for the first time at the death. So all taken together, I think Rohit was the right call. Let him be. He knows what to do. He's a senior enough pro. Go and do the job, and he did the job. Yes, he got a little rattled and 2 wides and all that, but as I said, one good ball. Because the moment you've got to think this also, Rajeshi, it's not as if Shardul alone is under pressure. So is Jofra, so is Jordan, because they also know one ball, if they score a single or a 2, and the game is gone away from them. So all you need to know is the batsmen are also under pressure. So the bowler needs to deliver one good ball, and that Shardul would have done.
Right. Boria, there's another one now on Virat Kohli. Obviously, he was out of the off the field for the last couple of overs. Rohit took over. There's Dibojyoti Sarma. He's asking, he's applauding the captaincy of Rohit. Said that's the captaincy of Rohit. When Virat thought there was no hope of winning, he went out. But it's Rohit who won the match for India. In fact, there's another one, Pranay Vige, asking why was Virat Kohli not on the field. I'd like to let you take that.
Leave this. I mean, if somebody thinks Virat Kohli went out because he thought there was no chance of winning, my dear friend, you don't know Virat Kohli, nor do you know this team. So I would leave that ball outside the off stump. All I will say is Virat Kohli every bit is the captain of this team. Even from outside, he was gesturing. He obviously had an injury-related issue, which is why he went out. But to think that Virat Kohli went out because he had conceded, the asking run rate was 12. All you needed was one breakthrough. What do you mean Virat Kohli knew the game was gone? Come on, yeah.
Right. There's Amlan Pradhan asking, Boria, do you think starting the game at 6 will nullify the due factor? Because in the IPL, sometimes you've had different start timings. So that is something that you look forward to?
Yeah, but 6 p.m. is dusk. So what will that do to the team batting first? The twilight. Ahmedabad, if I know right, that's twilight period. You cannot just put one team at a disadvantage. Here, the dew you cannot control, but twilight you can, right? So you cannot just start the game at 6 o'clock and say whichever team bats first will have to bat in, transitioning light, and that would be a problem. So you can't actually do that.
Yeah, but with the T20 World Cup, Boria, do you think they will factor in these things? Obviously, there'll be the dew factor. When you know that you're playing in the subcontinent, there will be the dew factor to reckon with. But India today showed the resilience in playing out the conditions. But do you think there is a case for an earlier start now? Because it's happening also, the T20 World Cup will be later towards the year. So is there a factor for the teams to look at different timings? Because in India, the IPL games used to start at 8 p.m. Obviously, they've moved it to 7 p.m. They can't be taking the timings back and forth like that. But what are your thoughts on what the T20 World Cup timing should be looking like?
I think 7 p.m. will be the start because of, again, you've got to take into account that India is a huge country and not every place will get dark by 6. Calcutta will, Delhi will, or for that matter, some parts of the country will, but maybe not every part. Will Chennai get dark at 6? Maybe not. Will Bangalore get dark at 6? Maybe not. So these are things you've got to keep in mind. You've got to have even conditions, but again, tosses do not win cricket matches. How many times have I said this on our show? Due doesn't win cricket matches. Ability and potential does. It was India, England. England won the toss. England had the best of the conditions. England had the roll of the dice. India went on and beat them. And imagine what that would do to the confidence of this team. It's the ability. It's ability that wins cricket matches, not tosses and everything else.
No, absolutely. You mentioned the confidence, you mentioned the team's ability, the all-round ability, and Virat Kohli's captaincy as well, leading from the front as he has in the series
Okay.
and some splendid
People were
captaincy.
criticizing Virat, right? I mean, Virat Kohli gave up his batting position to Surya Kumar Yadav.
Yeah,
Take that.
yeah,
Take that. I mean,
absolutely.
this fellow scored 77 and 73 not out, and to just give up your batting position for Surya Kumar Yadav. Hats off, man. Give that fellow credit. Give that fellow credit and be proud that he's captain of India.
In fact, that was going to be. I'm glad you mentioned that. That was going to be my final wrap-up question. The fact that Virat Kohli he's tasted so much success at number three. He's given away that position to Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar Yadav just so that these young men can go and try and see what they can do. But Boria, I know you mentioned that momentum is with India. Obviously, we will come back and analyze that series decider as well. But do you now think that if Ishan Kishan is fit, right, because he missed out, so do you see him again getting a chance and having a role in the series decider? KL Rahul, like you said, got 11, 12 runs, looked like he was getting back into groove. But or would India just go in with an unchanged 11 and give KL Rahul that last chance in the series to see what he can do?
I think KL is a match winner. I actually feel that way. I think KL is long term for India. I think he's one of the best, but every person goes through a bad patch, and KL is. Because it's the decider, I would actually take the punt with Kishan. I would go with Ishan Kishan and Rohit Sharma. Also because it's left-right, I will then go with Virat at 3, Surya at 4, Rishabh at 5, Shreyas at 6, Hardik at 7, and then the bowlers. So I would actually do that. I would do that knowing that maybe in the World Cup it will be KL because KL is class. I keep saying this, KL is class. And I'm glad that Surya Kumar Yadav is man of the match. So on debut, man of the match. I mean, as you know, he's very close to me. I'm absolutely chuffed for Surya Kumar Yadav. He keeps talking, saying, "Sir, wo match batting karna mil jaye, sir. Batting karna mil jaye." I mean, you can understand what that fellow feels from inside. Sir, batting karna mil jaye. Bole zyada batting karna mil jaye. Even the other day, and he did not for one say कि मुझे बाहर बैठना पड़ा. अरे सर बोले था बैटिंग करना. And look at what he did with that opportunity. This is new India. This is what won us the series in Australia. This is the new India that I absolutely love.
Absolutely, and so great to see these guys. In fact, Surya Kumar Yadav, the first interview that he gave, the only interview after his selection to the Indian team was to Boria on Sports Today. So you can always watch that on our channel right here. But thank you, Boria, as usual, for your views on the game. We'll obviously build up to the series decider with Deep Dasgupta and Boria Mojumdar. Boria will be back at 5 at 5. I'll be back in the morning at 10. There'll be plenty more leading up to the series finale. But thank you so much for joining us on this show, the post-match analysis. Do subscribe to this channel and do not forget to download the House app. Thank you. Have a good evening.